Many times we watch professional athletes and think that would be a cool career to go into long term, but in reality, most professional athletes only spend a few years doing their sport. In the NFL, the average career is only for 3 years. In the NBA, it's 4.5 seasons. And in Major League Baseball, it's only 5 years. So the truth of the matter is, most of these are just short-term gigs people are doing, except for the elite athletes that can make a longer career of it. Now, some of the reasons for this are obviously injuries. The competition is just so fierce in that elite professional level there. They've always got new talent come in they've got to compete against. And I know a lot of people will gauge how good an athlete was by how many championships they had or scoring titles or MVPs or whatever the case, all the different awards they might get. But one thing that really impresses me is longevity in a sport. When I see someone that's been doing the same thing for 10, 15, 20 years, that speaks volumes to me. So today I want to talk about athletes who had great longevity in their sport, very long careers. And as usual, we're going to start with basketball. There are many amazing players that played 15 plus seasons, but I'm just going to start at 20 in the NBA. So you've got people like Kobe Bryant, Jamal Crawford, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar all had 20-year careers. Players that played 21 seasons were Robert Parrish, Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki, and Kevin Willis. Currently, the athlete who's played the most seasons in the NBA is Vince Carter. He started in the late 90s. He retired in 2020. So technically, he spanned 4 decades of play, but he played 22 seasons in the NBA. Even though he lost some spring at the end of his career, he could still get up. Now, if there was a poster child for an athlete who was good at ignoring father time, it would have to be LeBron James. Like him or not, you've got to admit it's amazing that he's performing at that level 20 years into his career currently. And one reason for this is he's taken such good care of his body. A lot of athletes, you'll see them, they enter the league, they're partying, staying up, doing all kinds of stuff, not taking care of themselves, and they're just not going to last as long. So that self-care is a huge component of that. Some examples in the NFL, you've got Jerry Rice that had a 20-year career. Tom Brady just retired recently, having played 23 seasons in the NFL. That's amazing. In baseball, you've got players like Derek Jeter played 20 years, Willie Mays played 24 years, and Nolan Ryan played 27 years. This blows my mind. A pitcher, how is his arm and his shoulder still intact at the end of that career? That's just amazing. I'm not a big NHL fan, but Gordie Howe played 27 seasons of hockey. That's amazing. In tennis, Jimmy Connors, I believe his career is about 25 years. Martina Navratilova had a professional career of 30 years. Now, you might expect a long career from someone that's playing a sport like golf, but when it comes to contact and combat sports, that doesn't make any sense. However, Archie Moore had a 28-year career as a professional boxer. That blows my mind. Many professional sports really are dominated by younger athletes. I saw this tweet the other day I thought was kind of funny. You've probably seen things like this when an announcer will talk about someone who's over 30 and talk about it like it's a geriatric miracle that they can even perform out there with them. That being said, this last example really impresses me. This is a name a lot of people might not recognize, but there is a female gymnast named Oksana Chusovitina. At the early 90s, at the fall of the Soviet Union, her first Olympic game was with the unified team back then. And since then, she's been to 7 additional Olympics, representing Germany and Kazakhstan, but she's had 8 Olympic Games in female gymnastics. This is so impressive to me because women's gymnastics is something that's really dominated by younger athletes. So seeing her compete in 8 Olympic Games is just amazing. So my hat's off to her. I think it's an inspirational, great example for people to be able to do things as they age. As I mentioned before, one of the biggest problems to a professional athlete is staying free of injuries. We see it happen so many times. It's heartbreaking when you see, amazing players that had so much potential, but their careers are cut short. I think of Sam Bowie, Greg Oden, Brandon Roy, and even players that did have a successful career like, Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill, Bill Walton, to think if they didn't have those injuries plaguing him for so many years, how it could have been for them. So injuries are not fair. It's a bummer, but I guess it's part of life and part of the game. So in summary, there are many factors that can influence the length of an athlete's career. Injuries, their rest and recovery, their nutrition, their training methodology, how they take care of themselves in the off season, their commitment to the game, their love to the game. There's a lot of things. And one of the big ones, which I haven't mentioned here, is load management. I'm actually going to do a video dedicated just to that topic next week. It'll be kind of fun, so join me for that. Most people watching this are never going to be a professional athlete. So what's the point or the takeaway from this? Well, for the average person, I just want to remind you it's so important to stay active as you age. Many of us do a great job of that when we're in high school and college, but we start to get more sedentary and settle down. But I'd encourage you to find any activity or sport you enjoy doing and keep doing it as you age. Whether it's swimming, walking, hiking, running, just anything, pickleball, whatever keeps you active and happy, I encourage you to do it. There's so many benefits as you remain active. If you can think of some athletes I missed in these examples that had long, successful careers, feel free to include them down in the comments below.